So we have with us Andrei Chubik, who is a senior researcher and executive director for the Center for Global Studies Strategy 21, and in particular researching energy and energy security. So we have this map to help our audience to understand what's going on. But Andrei, just explain us why this issue has again been actual, because of course a lot of people who are concerned about the Russian role in using the gas as the weapon were hoping that maybe the project is on hold. So what's new? What we should know?
Well, we have to understand that Nord Stream was initiated back in 2009 and even earlier, and discussed with at that time Chancellor of Germany, Gerhard Schröder, and Russian President Vladimir Putin. And especially from these duumvirat, we have to consider this pipeline as a threat to European Union and to unity, to solidarity among member states. We consider this pipeline as political project, as political tool, and a possibility for Russia to spread corruption and divide and rule European Union and member states.
What we really understand, maybe you even show us that there are different perspectives between the different countries. The Central European country like Poland, for instance, and Ukraine are speaking very openly against the project. Yet, for instance, Germany is considering. There are some few countries like, I know, Austria and Czech Republic who also are, let's say, more in favor. So it's really, it is a political thing. But can you just, what we should know now, and what do you think this new EU regulations or these talks which we hear now, what impact they would have on the future of the project? How probable it will be built? And
I guess Russia will take all possible efforts to implement this project, meaning second part of Nord Stream, so-called Nord Stream 2, and they are doing all possible steps, like speaking with top officials, speaking with companies, proposing them different benefits and gifts and so on. We just observed during recent years how even European Commission and Council of Europe, of European Union, changed their minds, their understanding and their opinion about this pipeline, because at certain point they decided, well, it's not in line with European interest to diversify roads and suppliers. But then we observed silence with regard to mentioned already by previous speaker investigation against Gazprom, because at the same time European Commission investigated at least 3 big cases against Gazprom and against 2 big IT companies. And then we have on both IT companies more or less clear decisions, but with regard to Gazprom, still some kind of process.
As about Germany, Germany plays a crucial role for the Ukraine, for the solution of the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, and Germany plays a huge role in keeping Europe together to support the sanctions. Wherever we think about that, of course, there are different discussions. Yet, there is a bit of a controversy over that fact that, in particular, this country would be the partner of the project, having all the political context. So what are the reasons there? I think there are a lot of discussion in the European Union, but still, what is your take?
We do hope that ongoing or next government in Germany will change a bit their mind on this project and perhaps say, well, we will stop all our deals with Russia with regard to Nord Stream 2, because we expect that social democrats will go from governing status to opposition and will lose a lot of the impact on policy making in Germany.
So really, can you shortly maybe explain where we are looking at? We knew a bit of the history of and all the previous, with the decades when we're discussing the project, almost a decade.
Well, Russia has quite big support from German companies, because part of companies have direct and quite good contracts, long-term contracts with Russia, with Gazprom. Second issue is that Gazprom owns already part of the shares, and it's about companies which operate and distribute gas in Germany, as well as some companies dealing with storage of gas. Altogether makes this industrial lobby quite strong, and it works in support of this project.
And I ask you to remind us what's even happening with the let's say, the South Stream project, in particularly the Turkish stream, as we can say. They are different. We would have the meeting of Russian and Turkish president earlier next week. So, you know, can you explain a bit of the balance?
According to joint efforts, I would say, from European Union, Ukraine, and other countries, we succeeded to abandon South Stream as a big Russian project. And Russia lost at that time at least $12 billion because it built already a lot of infrastructure in the south part of the country. Right now they are doing a bit smaller project named Turkish Stream, and especially they started to build the first line towards Turkey, meaning that they will bring then in 1 year perhaps around 15 billion cubic meters of gas to be used in Turkey. And it was a preliminary agreement between both countries. Right now, Russia is interested in getting support for the second line, because second line is supposed to bring the same amount of gas already to be available for southern part of Europe. I mean, for Balkan countries and perhaps for Italy a bit.
And the last thing is just to please ask you to put also to explain to our audience, you know, what's really happening, if we can be, you know, short and concise with that, with the energy dependence of Ukraine, dependence on Russia. To what extent we are really not dependent on Russian gas, and not dependent then, and on what we are dependent now?
Luckily, we have broken dependency in gas issues to the significant extent. And due to reverse flows, we have a much better situation right now. However, I would ask and call to policymakers, to wide audience, just to prioritize energy efficiency as a very powerful tool to get awake, to be free in next couple of years, more independent in terms of energy consumption and energy utilization. So energy efficiency should be the first priority. Then we have to consider, but quite carefully, about current assets we have from electricity sector, from nuclear sector, from hydro power, and build up very carefully but reliable strategy of their development, because we have to consider perhaps in next years to go out from coal as a fuel for electricity production, and we have to consider future of nuclear powers, because they are to end, at least many of units are supposed to end in 5, 7, 10 years functionality, and build up renewable sector, but in strong combination with efforts to reduce current consumption level.
Andriy, thank you. So it was Andriy Chubik, an Executive Director of the Center of Global Studies, Strategy 21.